I am not super motivated to read this book. We have upgraded to a snail scroll. It's getting pretty juicy. Like, I am definitely feeling the stakes. I am like freaking out a little bit. It's just a direct reflection of reality. I'm like on the verge of tears. Hi YouTube, this is Talisha from Tales of Taleli, and I am finally going to force myself to finish the stinking series. So I've had this book since April of 2024. It's been so long. And by the time I started filming this vlog, this is a re-film, but at the start of that video, I was on page like 214 of this book. And while that's nothing to scoff at, that is a lot of pages, this book has 740 pages. So it's like, I've barely made a dent in this book, and I've had it for 2 years. I already had read the first 2 books before I really started this channel. I don't have the first 2 books on my channel, but I need the extra motivation to read the stinking book, and so I told myself that if I film myself reading it, maybe I'll actually get progress done. It's the same strategy I used for writing my novel. Trying to keep this as spoiler free as possible. I think I started around chapter 24. I was basically at the point where the main cast of characters had discovered a major clue in fighting the big bad evil in this story, but they don't understand it yet. I'll just give you 2 words, and if you've read the book, you'll probably understand what they mean, and if you haven't, it's not much of a spoiler. 16%. Got it? Okay, cool. Moving on. Honestly, guys, if it wasn't for the fact that I spent 2 books with these characters already, and I was told that it was gonna have a good ending, I probably would have do not finish this series. It's so slow going. Like, whatever the opposite of speed of light is, that's what this series is. I am not super motivated to read this book, so we're gonna see how this goes, I guess. I know how it's gonna go. I'm gonna finish the series, and then how I feel about it and whether or not I wasted my time will be determined from there.
Clear skies, wild eyes, hanging out on picnic blankets in the fall. We wave goodbyes as our moms pick us up one by one from the mall. Our childhood is ending like we dreamed it would.
A little update before I continue reading. I don't know how much time I'm gonna spend reading today or tomorrow, since I have a lot of other stuff I need to do to get ready for hosting. But things in this book are finally feeling like they're starting to move into position, which I guess technically they were this entire book, but moving at the speed of molasses. We have upgraded to a snail scroll. Yesterday I got to a part where the female main character got a little bit of intel, scouted out the city that they're going to, that they need to find a very specific thing, and I guess she kind of notices someone tailing her that you could consider a potential supernatural friend. There's still debate whether or not this supernatural friend is an actual friend or foe, but the main character, female main character, seems convinced that it is a friend. I hope for her sake that it is. I feel like I got through most of the expository type stuff, and now we're in the meat of the story. I read till page about 251. The fact that it's taken over 200 pages to get to a point where I'm like, okay, maybe I can be a little bit, into the book. That's a problem. And I feel like that was the same experience I had with the first 2 books. I don't remember, because I read the first Mistborn like a lot quicker than the other 2. It took 3 months, while book 2 took 9. I don't know, it just feels like he has this like really slow build up in this series. I do think the story is interesting. It's just taking a while to get through it. So I'm gonna continue reading some more. I'm in chapter 28 now. We'll see how much we get done. Good morning. Well, I guess it's almost noon by the time I'm filming this, so good afternoon. The last couple of days were kind of crazy in my schedule. I only got to read a chapter. The sudden influx of activity, coupled with the fact that I have insomnia, has made sleeping through the night pretty difficult to do, and so I didn't officially feel human enough to function until about 11:30. So, very slow start to the day, but I don't really have any plans today besides some friend time. So I'm gonna spend as much time as I can today reading, and I'm really excited about it. It's interesting to me how just within like 40-ish pages that the trajectory of the book in my mind has just done a complete 180. And part of me kind of wonders if that's because I was being a little too harsh with what I remembered of the book, but I'm actually kind of into it. I'm actually like enjoying myself reading the story. And so I'm having a more positive impression of how I'm going to feel about this book when I finish it. I'm trying to give the book a little more grace than I have been giving it because it is an interesting read, and I do like how he develops his world. The world is phenomenal. It's huge. It's massive. As someone who struggles with world building in her own novels, I could definitely borrow some tips and tricks from the way that he writes his world building. And also, I really like the characters. I think they're interesting. I think that the way that he portrays their emotions and their thoughts is pretty realistic. At least in this series, you don't feel like they stray too far from their personality, like the establishment of their personalities early on. Of course, they grow and change as all people do, but it's just exciting to see them as people and not as caricatures or just flat characters, which is a skill that all authors need to, learn how to do because nobody wants to read about someone who feels paper thin, But yeah, I'm going to start chapter 29 today. I have a self-imposed goal of reading this in a week. 500 pages in a week. It'll be fine. I used to be able to really read, like, gobble up books so quickly, and then I lost that ability soon after I enrolled in college. So maybe, hopefully, I can get back into it.
It's like a kiss of death. Instead of doing what you're doing, you get caught up in your head. Feet on the road with your eyes on the prize, inch by inch, one step at a time. You're losing hope when you can't find a way to speed up the timeline. But one day, though it might be a while, it's gonna be worth every mile if you just hold on. Hold on.
Another little update. I am about halfway through this book almost. I'm about 30 pages away from the halfway mark, and I'm really, really liking the part I'm at. Things that stopped me from finishing this book for so long is a friend that I trust told me that a lot of it felt very bleak and very hopeless. And I'm someone who likes hopeful stories. I do not like stories that just everything's bad, everything sucks, there's no hope for anyone type of thing. Dark moments do exist, but the whole point, at least for me, is that that dark moment doesn't last the entire book, In particular, there's one character in this book who went through a personal traumatic event and basically started questioning like everything they believed. But the way that it's written, I think, feels realistic to the situation. Like this person, if mental diagnoses were a thing back then, this person would definitely be diagnosed with major depressive disorder, or at least the disorder that's associated with prolonged grief. I don't remember. Is it prolonged grief disorder? The point is, the way that it's written is pretty realistic, and I'm not too mad about the fact that, at least for that character, it feels pretty hopeless. Everyone else still has little embers of hope. Like, they're still trying. They're still searching for clues. They're still searching for answers. And I don't know. I am into this. I like this. Things are picking up the pace, which I really appreciated. Now that I think about it, maybe I've just read more thrillers and YA, and maybe the expectations I have for this book are not being met because I have the wrong expectations, if that makes sense. So right now we're in chapter 37. At the end of chapter 36, at a pretty juicy part, where little bouts of chaos is happening. I don't know what the chaos is coming from. They're at camp. They're trying to do what needs to be done for the sake of the world, and something is about to go down. And so I'm really excited to read that. But what I read today is all I can read today. I'm gonna go get ready for D&D, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. So guys, I just finished chapter 43, and it's getting pretty juicy. Like, I am definitely feeling the stakes in this whole situation now. They are basically on an infiltration mission right now, two of the main characters. And it's definitely like if they get caught, things could go south real fast. They're basically in enemy territory where, you know, the enemy kind of has the upper hand. And this infiltration mission requires them to find something that's like really, really important. This could be a key to saving basically the entire world. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, okay. Sincerely believe that this is some sort of trap and it's not gonna turn out that easy. But I'm just really hopeful that it's not going to be a situation where either of the main characters like die. I think things are about to go down. It's going to get insane. At least that's my hope, because that would be a great payoff to all this build up. I only have this much left to go. It's about 340 pages, which I guess is actually still quite a lot. I am getting into that flow state of like, man, I just want to keep reading. I keep reading. Like, it is almost 10:30 right now, and I'm kind of tired, but I also have so much adrenaline because of this book. We also learned in one of the previous chapters a little bit of how a certain being was created, and it was very disturbing. It was not exactly what I envisioned. I just thought, you know, this being was created like a lot of other beings are, through the making of babies, or maybe they reproduce asexually, who knows. But that wasn't the case at all. It's definitely a lot more intense and harmful than that. I don't know if that's quite the word I want to use, but that's the word we're going to use. Good morning. Got 3 days left on my self-imposed goal of reading this book, and I am spontaneously deciding to go to the next town over with my parents to get some local food. It's worth it though. It's really good, like flavorful Mexican food. It is almost a tradition for us to go, and so I was like, yeah, I want to come. I haven't had it in a while. I'm gonna read on the way there. It's about a 45-minute drive, but first I need to fix this situation. I've also decided that I kind of want to cut my bangs a little bit. When I cut my bangs, I usually do it myself. It's either like really good or really bad. But luckily, since my hair is curly, bad mistakes don't really get noticed as often since it's kind of hidden by the curls. So I am going to fix my hair in the 14, almost 13 minutes now that I have left. This didn't have water. This had rubbing alcohol in it. Silly me for not checking though. I'm just assuming it was water. As far as it goes.
Got a choice how I'm gonna live. I can take or I can give. When I wake up, I can't wait to get moving, 'cause I already know what I'm gonna be doing. I'll be the sun, I'll be the sun, shining light on everyone. I'll be the sun, I'll be the sun, yeah, shining light on everyone.
Y'all, I just finished part 3 and something just crazy just happened, and I am like, I'm buzzing, man. I am buzzing. Like, okay, so I had a theory that this particular person that just showed up at the end of part 3 would show up eventually back in book 2, and the fact that it happened just now and the way that it happened, oh my gosh, it is going, oh my gosh, I am like freaking out a little bit. And I texted my friend about it, who's already read this book. She told me to keep reading because it gets crazier. Oh my gosh, I have like 330 some pages left. I did not read a whole lot of pages on the little trip. Turns out it's really hard to read in a car. But I have a feeling this next part, and maybe the part after, if there's another part, is just gonna go by so fast for me. Just because I'm just like, yes, I need to know what happens next. It's a good place to be. So I'm gonna go keep reading, and I probably will do another update later on tonight. Another day, another cup of joe, and more reading. Although I feel like things keep popping up that's making it a little more difficult for me to read as much as I want to read. They're all good things, or they're all necessary things, so I'm not too upset about it. The more that the time goes on, it looks less and less likely for me to actually finish by the 14th. I have less than 300 pages, which is good. So I don't know the math right now, but I'm near the end, like 2/3 of the way through chapter 49. Earlier, I was really excited about the end of part 3 and what happened happened there. And then you read the next chapter, the very first chapter in part 4. Let's just say the excitement that I had before might have come a little too soon, because the next couple chapters pretty much just, it's not as simple as I once thought, let's just say that. And they finally found the thing that we're looking for in the city. I was correct in that it was somewhat of a trap, but it also proved to be disappointing, and I probably gave too much even with that, but it's just like, ugh. I'm actually kind of upset about it because there was so much buildup and so much was harping on this one thing. And perhaps I should have expected that it wasn't going to be that simple. I mean, nothing ever really is. But the fact that there was just so much buildup and it's like not very helpful to their mission. It's like, okay, now what? Now we're just stuck again. I wonder if this part is the part that my friend was mostly talking about when she said that it just feels really hopeless. I don't know. I have to continue reading to find that out. But it's still good. It's just now I'm at that point where with the characters of being like, well, what do we do next? Like, anyway, there was a couple lines in this story that they're not spoilers like at all. And they're very simple lines, but for some reason they just really struck me. So two people are talking. One person who's very like having the depression, and the other person who's kind of slightly arrogant, I guess. I mean, I think this person means well, but they come across as pretty arrogant and selfish at times. But the depressed character is talking at length about something, and near the end they said, "I apologize, you're not interested in this, are you?" And then the next person speaks and says, "No, but it's enough that you are." I just really like that. Like, it's such a simple set of lines, but it really shows just like the connection they have and like how much this person, the slightly arrogant one, cares, even if they don't always show it. I think it's also like a good representation of like, that's how friendship is supposed to be, in my opinion, where even if you don't care about something the other person cares about, you still listen and you still like engage with their excitement because you care about them. And just, I don't know why those lines struck me so much, because there's been plenty of lines in this book that have been good. I mean, not stellar to the point that I remember them, but I just never felt the need to like comment on any of them until now. And so I'm kind of wondering, like, why did those two lines stick out to me so much? So the agenda for today, I need to do laundry, and I'm about to do that in about 10-ish minutes. And then I was gonna come back home and probably do a little bit of reading. I do have to do a Bible study before tonight. Kind of have a lot to do with the Bible study. And then after that, coming back home at 9:30, and there is going to be some sort of an event that I'm really excited about in the Minecraft server I run, or help run. And that's probably gonna go on until I go to bed. So not quite a lot of time. It depends on how long the Bible study takes for me to know how long I have to read. Hopefully I can still get at least a good quality couple hours, you know? The one good thing though about doing my laundry is while I'm at the laundromat, I can read there too. So I'm probably gonna bring my book. Either way, it's gonna turn out fine. I feel like I've said that a lot in this video. But I try to have that as my general disposition towards things, or at least remind myself of that, because I tend to be a little bit of a worry wart. I tend to overthink. And so training my brain into saying, you know what, even if it doesn't turn out exactly how you want it, it's gonna be fine. I really do not need to be worrying about things that either A, don't matter as much, or B, there's nothing I can do about them, so.
You'll thank me when we're 83 and we don't remember. And even then, we'll still have time. There will still be mountains we haven't climbed. Though we're almost finished with our dyed hair and nothing left to make us scared. 'Cause we did it.
I have less than 100 pages to go. So I had an interview today, and I decided that I didn't want to go out just for the interview. I don't currently have a car, and so I have to bus places, and busing places takes a lot more time and effort, and it feels kind of lame to bus somewhere for a less than an hour long interview. So I decided to go to a local coffee shop, and I was there for 3 hours reading. It was great. I got decent progress done to the point that I actually feel like I can finish this book by tomorrow, which this deadline has always been kind of arbitrary. It doesn't really matter if I don't accomplish this goal. It doesn't matter if I spend another day reading, but I'm stubborn and I have it in my brain. I am going to finish Hero of Ages by Thursday the 14th, and so I'm gonna finish. I just finished reading page 643 out of 740, which is pretty exciting, and that is at the end of chapter 71. Things are finally starting to click into place a little bit. Things are finally making sense, not only to the characters, but to me as the reader. One of the comments I had when I was reading in the coffee shop, I was having so many questions about the two forces that are prevalent in this novel. I talked about the antagonistic force a little bit in the previous clip, but there's also a positive force, not necessarily a protagonistic force, but a positive force. A lot of the information that was presented to me about these two forces just went right over my head. While I was thinking about this on my way home, I was like, I really hope this book explains more about these two forces. And like, even on the back of the little blurb for this book, it says, it's the stunning conclusion to the Mistborn trilogy that answers all the questions posed by the first two volumes. Does it answer all the questions posed by this volume? Because honey, I have a lot. But it is really cool to see some of the things I've wondered about answered, and I'm really excited to see where the last 100 so pages take me. However, I also more so understand my friend's comment about how everything feels bleak and hopeless, because we came upon another part where it's just very, very like heavy. It's very like, I am in despair and I don't think anything will fix it type of terminology, type of vibes. But I genuinely don't mind it as much as she probably did, because I think that's just a reflection of reality, especially for people who have like mental illness, for example. My background is in mental health. I'm studying to become a counselor. Like, my life goal, one of my life goals, is to be a therapist. And so I feel like the amount of despair that this book portrays, relatively normal for people who are suffering a lot of trauma or have like a host of mental illnesses, which I'm not gonna sit here and diagnose people again in the book. It's just a direct reflection of reality. It's realistic. It makes sense. And I know some people would disagree with me saying it being reflective of reality is a good thing. I know that a lot of people read books to escape reality, and in some ways I do too, but like, I also think that if a book was not grounded in some form of reality, it almost becomes a distraction. At least it does for me. I can only speak for myself, really. So if you vibe with this, cool. If you don't, that's also cool. I mean, you're still kind of escaping reality, even if it has things that are similar to reality, by living in a totally different world. But it still has those little tidbits of reality that makes it more relatable, I think. It helps you connect with the characters in the world a little bit more. That's just my 2 cents on it. I could not be making sense right now. I am freaking exhausted. Today has been a very long day, and it is almost 10 p.m. I think I should go to bed. With all of my shenanigans today, I walked like 2.5 miles, and I don't normally walk 2.5 miles. It was great. It was exhilarating, but it was also like, I'm tired. I should go before I start rambling even more. I'm very talkative when I'm sleepy, so I'm gonna go. I will see you guys tomorrow.
Did I appreciate all the miles, all the sights I've seen? Now I associate.
I just finished the book, and I don't know how to feel. I'm like on the verge of tears. It is so bittersweet. That was great. That was a crazy last 100 pages. I just like ate that stuff up. Like, it took me 2.5 hours to read that, and like, I both love and hate the ending. I need time to get my thoughts in order. I am flabbergasted. I am floored. I with all the flaws that this book has, and there are a few, that was a good story. I gotta go meet my friends, but I will come back later tonight or tomorrow. I finished the book today. I completed my goal. Yay. But I'll come back to give a more proper update, but I'm just floored. Alright guys, here's the sitch. Like I said earlier, I both loved and hated the ending. It was very bittersweet. The epilogue did provide like a semblance of hope. It did give the impression that things are going to be okay from now on, but how that hope was achieved was quite upsetting for me. I'm still a little distraught over it. Something happened near the end that I had to put the book face down and just like, I just needed a minute. I was so upset. I read a certain line and I was like, no, I'm not dealing with this right now. A few pages before that, something else happened that also sucked. Though if I put my emotions aside for a second, narratively speaking, it was a good choice. At least the choice makes sense. Sometimes to save what you love, there has to be a great sacrifice. I get it. However, that doesn't mean I have to like it, and I don't. And not to be dramatic, but it was like I was given an open wound and someone immediately poured salt on it. And the epilogue, although hopeful, relatively, didn't really do much to counteract the negative emotions for me. I mean, that probably wasn't the point, but it did feel a little bit like putting scotch tape on a windshield crack. And it's like, I guess you're trying, but it doesn't really do much. Like, you still need to replace the windshield, you know? The damage is still there. It's definitely an ending that's going to stick with me. And my friend, who has read almost all of his books by this point, called his ending one of his most epic and dramatic endings that really stick with you. And you know what? This trilogy is the first Sanderson I've ever read, and I am inclined to believe her. That was insane. And I'm usually not someone who cries over books, but at the ending of this one, there was a little bit of tears. Yep, I did cry. In the last 100 pages, I had like a lot of my questions answered. The puzzle pieces in this massive jigsaw fit together pretty nicely, and although there's some missing pieces, like little holes here and there, they're not significant enough to detract from the puzzle as a whole. It's like having like a 2,000 piece puzzle and you're missing 3. Like, it really, like, you can still see the bigger picture, you know? I think most of my questions are just ones that are like irrelevant to the plot, and I just happen to be curious about them, you know? Also, my understanding of like the supernatural forces that are influencing things in the world drastically improved. I'm not as confused anymore as I was before I read those last 100 pages. So overall, I think this book was pretty good. I have a Storygraph account and I posted a little bit of a review and rated it. Follow me if you want. I'll leave a link down below. I'd give it a 4.25 stars out of 5. I think it's obvious a lot of care and effort and thought went into writing this series, and most things, pretty much all of the important things, came to a pretty solid close. Like, I don't think I came away from this series thinking, well, what happened with this character? Or what about this plot point? Like, I don't have anything in my brain right now about that. The interesting part about this series, though, is that I was told that this trilogy is relatively mediocre compared to the rest of his work. And the fact that I really liked this series means that I have slightly higher expectations for his other books, because I do plan on reading some more of his work. I'm kind of excited about it, actually. I really want to start reading the Stormlight Archive, even though the massiveness of those books low-key intimidates me. And then my friend also recommended his standalone Trust of the Emerald Sea, which I might try out. I read the little plot blurb that it gives, and not exactly, you know, something I'm into, but since it's her favorite book, I'm going to try it. I also have like an overall goal to read more, both personally because I really like reading, but also as kind of like research as a budding author. And I don't mean just craft books. I mean also like fiction and fantasy, or fiction in other genres, and just, you know, reading good books, reading quote unquote bad books. Reading to help oil up the creative cogs in my brain so that I can write and work on my own novels and not get as stuck as I have been. Because I've noticed that I'm a much better writer after I've read a lot. So I'm about to start another fantasy book called Name of the Wind, which is also pretty old. It's 2007. And I'm hoping that in between I can do a little bit of writing and really get the gears turning for my own works. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. If this is the only video you've ever seen by me, this is the first reading vlog I've ever made for this channel, but there are going to be more. And I want my channel to be more than just writing. Like, it has been mostly focused on writing so far, but I do want it to be writing, reading, other creative works. But I just want this to be my little creative corner of the internet. And if you have been following along with me, thank you so much. I appreciate you tremendously. It's a lot of fun to make these videos. It's a lot of fun to post them, but it's more fun when you know, generate conversation and start building up a little bit of a community type of thing. Anyway, that's it from me. Feel free to leave a like, to leave a comment, and share your own thoughts about this series as a whole or Hero of Ages. And I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye!